here we have it. So this is my donor engine for this little Bronco here. There's the hood up. So here it is. This is a 04 engine code VW. It is, some people like them, some people don't. I love these engines. So yeah. So the story with this one is he hydroplaned on the interstate, hit the median or something, and it did a number on it. So it deployed the airbags, tore inside your standard generic Volkswagen. But this thing does have some nice cloth seats. I like that. Too bad they're not heated. But yeah, there's a quick little look at it. So it does run, as you see it. It runs and drives. So yeah, I've been trying to buy one of these cars for like a year since I got the Bronco for a donor engine. And every time I go to get one, something always went wrong. And either couldn't go, they sold it before I got there, or something like that. So anyways, I finally found this one, snatched it up. I gave $600 for it. So, and the reason I gave $600 for it is because that transmission there is a 5-speed, and that's a very desirable transmission. So I can sell it with all the components to do a 5-speed swap, and I can make my money back. So out of this whole ordeal, I should get a free motor and whatever's left on the car. But still, the reason the hood and fenders are black, as I said, they hit a deer with it before, and they had put all these new parts on it, but just didn't paint them. So that's that. Anyways, I can't run the engine very long. It broke it off the radiator, so there's no antifreeze in it. But I did check the oil and everything. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, so. And she's got 227 miles on the clock there. So that's not bad at all. I think mine's only got 100,000 more than that. So anyways, it's got 2 good tires on the front, so I can use them. The back ones have some dry rot. So, but anyways, there is the donor engine that we have to stuff in this little Bronco. So I guess we will pick back up when I start tearing this apart. Alright, so got the car moved into my unfinished garage here. And now basically we're getting this engine out. So this will definitely be a several part series on this whole thing, but I'm going to try and go somewhat in depth, but not too crazy where it's boring. So basically, to get this engine out, these engines are actually, in my opinion, they're really easy to take out. Some people, this might look intimidating, but all this stuff just unbolts. And it's like, you know, it's like anything else. Whenever you're taking out an engine, you're like, people, they're like, what do I have to take loose? And I'm like, well, you just see everything that's connected, and you just take it all loose. So basically, underneath, you gotta pull off the 2 CV axles. There's a dog bone down there that holds the engine to the car. You take it off, and then the exhaust. And I'm pretty sure that's all you need to do underneath the engine last time. So I've pulled several of these TDI engines out. And then up here, you know, you just start taking your battery, your airbox, unhooking your fuel lines, coolant hose, the charge pipes, that stuff. You get all that pulled out, and then, you know, you got a motor mount on this side, motor mount on this side, and then all the wiring unhooked, and then it sets right out. So it's nothing too crazy, pretty simple. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and pull this guy up on some ramps and get started tearing it apart. to get to the point where this is, if your car, doesn't look like this and, it's like normal and got a bumper and stuff on it, there's like a couple bolts right in here somewhere. You pull the grill out and then there's like 3 bolts behind it. And then over in the bottom 2 corners, there will be a bolt up in there on each side, and then some bolts on the splash shield, and then you take that off, the whole bumper comes off. And then basically all this unbolts and sets out of here. So then you have pretty much real nice access to everything. So I'm just going to start taking all this stuff loose. So, and you don't have to take the fenders off. I'm probably going to take them off and throw them in the scrap pile. And I'm probably going to take the hood off too. You don't have to do that. I'm just going to take it off because it's actually, whatever this guy hit, man, tore the bottom of the car up. But this hood is in like perfect shape. So I'm going to get to doing that. Okay, we're good. I was making sure there wasn't Freon in that for the AC. You don't want to breathe that in. But it's empty, so we're good. Okay, so I've been taking my time. I've been labeling everything. Just making sure. It's so much easier when everything's labeled, so you know where it all goes. Plus, when I pull out this whole harness, I'm going to need to know what goes to what, so I know what I can get rid of and what I have to keep. So I've been doing that, but we got her pretty set. Now it's time. I need to pull the power steering line off and drain that out, and then pull this clutch line off right down here. It's just this little clip pulls up and it slides out. Whatever you do, let's see if I move this where you guys can see this little clutch line right here. It goes up, then there's a piece of rubber and goes to the master cylinder there. Do not cut that line. That line's like $150. When I did the 5-speed swap in my Jetta, I just cut that to be quick. Yeah, that's like $150. Do not cut that line. And it's super easy to take off. But before I start, because once I pull that, it's going to leak brake fluid out and stuff. So I'm going to get under it and go ahead and unhook the CV axles, the exhaust, and the little dog bone under there, and then everything underneath will be done. And I'll come back up and finish getting all this, and then we should be ready to set it out. The only specialty tool you'll need to take this out is one of these multiple splines. I forget what they call them, but you just need one of these because that's what the CV axle bolts are. It's not a Torx bit. If you put a Torx bit in, it'll strip it out instantly. So just use these. You can buy a whole set of them from auto parts store. They're pretty cheap. So that's the only specialty tool you need to take it out. Everything else is just standard nuts and bolts, really. So I'm going to climb under there and take everything loose. Okay, so underneath here, here's this dog bone I was telling you about. So it's got 2 bolts here, then this bolt, and then this bolt. I usually just take it all off. And then here is the spline shafts that hold the CV axles on. Pop them off. And you don't have to, if you want to take the CV axle out, you got to pull off the lower control arm and take a bunch of stuff loose and then pull it out. You don't have to do all that. You can just take it loose here and the engine will come out. So, yeah, so I'm going to get that stuff loosened up and then cut the exhaust. And looks like somebody did a good job cutting the cat. Looks like about what I did on mine. Alright, so, and for the exhaust, I'm just going to reach up here with the Sawzall and cut it. Make it easier. Because them bolts are kind of hard to get to on the back of the turbo, and they have a tendency to break. So, don't want to do that. Also, you got this plug here and this vacuum line on this turbo actuator. That comes off. And I'm pretty sure that's all I need to do down here, as far as I know. So, I'm going to get to doing that. There's nowhere to set up the camera and do it, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll come back to you. So everything at the bottom is now unhooked. So now I'm going to drain the power steering fluid, and I got a few more things I got to unhook, and we're just about ready to set this guy out of here. So I'm going to get back at it. Alright, we are ready to pull this guy out. Everything's unhooked. I got the motor mounts loose. I took one bolt out of each of them. So that's your motor mounts on each side. Take them loose. So let me go get something to pick it up with, and we'll get it out of here. So you might be wondering what this contraption here is. Well, back in my early days of making random stuff, I made this homemade cherry picker. What this is one of them pickup truck cranes. A little, I forget what it's rated at. I think like 1,000 pounds maybe. And then I had this piece of I-beam, so I had it, and then I bought this crane, and then I had this axle was out of an old jet ski trailer, so I just threw it in there, and put me a little stabilizer jack on there, and I even put a little vise up here. I don't use it much anymore, but it's still handy for this kind of stuff. And originally when I made this for, I was working on a lot of lawnmowers, and this was way cheaper than buying one of them stands to lift up the front of a lawnmower to like service the blades and stuff. So I'd use this to pick up the front of the lawnmower and then work on it. There's probably some older videos on the channel of me actually using it. But I've pulled quite a few engines with this. I even pulled the engine out of the Bronco with it. So, I mean, it's still useful. It's handy, so I'll probably have to take it off. This jack likes to leak all its fluid out, so I'll take this off, fill it up with fluid so we can use it. We should be in good shape, I hope. Alright, so my old jack has quit working, but it'll stay in a fixed position, so we'll just use the winch, crank this guy on up here. Alright, we got some pressure on it. I'm going to take these engine mounts loose and see what happens. Dead battery. 2 dead batteries. Maybe I didn't have enough tension on that. Why does all my stuff die right when I'm in the hills? There it is. Oh, it's out. Didn't go as smoothly as I had hoped, but that's all right. So now all I'm going to do is pull forward a little bit so I can move the engine out of the way. This way. Onward. But how do I get you to stay right there? Now you guys can see a little better. Here's the back side of the motor. Here's the turbo I was talking about to take that exhaust flange off. It's those 3 bolts there. It's not impossible to get to, but it is a little bit difficult. They're behind when it's in the car, so I just chopped it here, and then I cut that O2 wire because we won't be needing that. Then that's your turbo actuator here. That vacuum line was pretty stuck on there, so again I cut that, make it easy, because I didn't want to break that, and I can take a knife and cut that off real easy with it out of the car. So now I guess I'm going to see if I can't take this transmission off. So this mounting hook, or lifting hook, it's a little bit off balance. Looks like the engine's a little heavier on this side, but it did the trick. And then this right here is your EGR cooler, which we won't be needing that. So that's the only form of emission on these guys, is just a CGR cooler. So they're bad about clogging up the intake, but other than that, we should be good shape now. So I'm gonna pull this transmission off, and then we'll get ready and start taking the wiring harness off. A lot of that I'll do off camera, but I'll show you guys the interesting stuff. Oh, another thing, I started this at 12 o'clock. I pulled it up on the ramps at 12, so it is now 3:10. So 3 hours ain't bad, and I was taking my time too. So these aren't bad to pull out. Well, I'm not sure where I left off with recording yesterday, but anyways, I got all this whole wire harness loose here. This side, it's all loose. Everything's labeled. We're good. I pulled the ECU out. So Now it comes time we gotta tear the dash out of the car so I can pull that whole harness through that hole there. And because I want to keep it all complete and then just kind of go through what I need. Rather than, I hate to cut something that I end up needing, because then it's easier to keep stuff you don't need and then do away with it later than if you need it and don't have it. So I'm trying to keep all this complete. And I got pretty much everything labeled. Oh yeah, I still need to unhook all these vacuum solenoids. I forgot about that. I need to do that, and then we'll tear the dash out of this thing. Alright, so there's not really a good spot to set up the camera in here where you guys can see. So, you're on the head cam. Hopefully, you guys can see well. Make sure. Yeah, you should be pretty good there. Right, so we got to pull this dash out. So most of the bits are a 25 Torx, I believe. Nah, this is a 20. Alright. So we're going to start with the glove box. And you don't have to have power tools. It just speeds it up. You can do this just as easily with hand tools. Just takes a little more time. Okay, I'm trying to remember what else holds this guy on here. I think just all these three at the bottom. And this plastic side cover just pops off. And that should come out. What do we got holding? Is that part of that too? Yeah, I guess it was. Alright, there's one broken glove box. Goes in the trash pile. Now we're on to the center console and the radio and stuff. So the radio, there's like special tools to take it out, but you can take the screws out on each side here and pull the whole radio and climate controls out. It's just one big ordeal. Then the center console, they want you to take like all this stuff out. I usually just take it loose. I'm thinking there's only like 1 or 2 Torx bits, and then I just break this back piece. It comes right out. So that's what we're gonna do. Take that guy out. Move that back. There is a screw in there. Okay, that side's loose. Now we'll go to the other side. And that should just come out of there. There might be, I can't remember if there is anything up in here or not. This tray, at one point, you should have something, but it don't now. So. And then that should be it. Then the shifter boot, just pop it up. Like so, and you can twist it and it'll go right in between this. Then you pull that piece out. And then here's a little bit of insulation around the shifter boot. Okay, and take this out. This out. Then we got a couple screws under the radio here. One here, then should be two on the side. Then there'll be two more here. Gotta get these covers off. Oh. There is screws that hold these on the bottom, but I think they're missing, or I'm just gonna break it. One, actually, hang on, that one still got it. Let's go off, and there's the two screws here. Should be one right here. And one right back in here. If you guys can see that, steering wheel might be in the way. Then this whole thing just slides out. And it's got this big plug here. Twist it, unplugs. Radio, push the tab, it pulls off. And the climate control has a couple cables and a few switches. That's unplugged. Having a little small screwdriver helps out a lot with this stuff. For the electrical plugs, these slide out, and you twist them forward, they pop off of here. That's for like your defrost, your vent control, all that. And then this guy's out. We can go ahead and pull this instrument cluster out. This bottom piece pops off. Then there is two screws. Hard to see them, but they're right in there. If they're even there. Yeah, they're there. I can't remember if I can even get this into here. But I can't. So we'll deal with that in a minute. This airbag has a hole in the back. I think it actually, just one. And you just stick something up in there, push up or down and pull on it, and it'll come out. Well, at least it's supposed to. I just had one of these out the other day. That's all I did. I just... I'm gonna grab my other screwdriver. Being that I'm not trying to salvage any of this, it's all getting ripped off. there it is. That's what I love about parts vehicles, is you get the fun of just ripping and smashing things. Now, if I could still get the airbag out, I'm determined I want this airbag out. Just because it doesn't want to come out. But I should probably quit wasting my time on this stupid thing. Oh crap. I didn't know I broke the key off of it. Well, I mean, that don't matter anyways. But... okay, let's work on the rest of this dash. Now, above your feet, there's this plate. It just sits up in, well, it might be screwed on with the other stuff, but whenever I'm working on like my personal Volkswagen, I take this out because it's just pointless. Then we got screws on the sides here that hold the dash on. Take this headlight switch out to unhook it, push it in, and twist it. It pulls right out. Unplug it. So, okay, now there's one screw over here. There's not that many screws that actually hold the main dash assembly. There's this one right here. This one down here. Then there should be one on that far side over there. Right there. And that should be it for the main dash. I still can't. I swear I got them before with this gun, but I guess not. So instead of complaining about it, I'll just go get another tool. This ought to do the trick here. Okay, come back. Alright, then this cluster, it just kind of twists out, and there's two plugs in the back of it. Got these tabs, you just lift it up, and as you lift it up, it pushes it out. There's another one on this far side, if I can get to it. And then there's the cluster. Alright, cluster's out. And there's another dash screw right in the middle behind that cluster. couple more right behind the steering wheel. Right there. Right there. Raise this guy back up. Take this metal pan off of here. It's another one of the things that doesn't do anything structural, it's just kind of here. Oh yeah, also need to unhook these plugs here. If you have heated seats, they'll be on these two corners. Then your 4-ways and your rear window defrost. You just reach in behind them, push them out, pull them apart. And I'm thinking that should be the majority of it. If they're... Now, I'm not sure. People say that this will come off with the steering wheel on. So, we're going to find out. If not, then we'll just break it off. And this dash, it's got clips in the top that hold it. So once everything is loose... Hang on. I forgot the... Forgot the fuse panel. Don't forget to unscrew the fuse panel. And this little dimmer light. You just kind of, and it doesn't matter what order you go in doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like some things have to come off before others, but you just kind of start tearing it apart and you'll figure it out from there. And if you're salvaging something, just be more gentle with it. This should be good. I don't see any more screws. So now we're gonna give her a couple good yanks and she should come off. Still feels like there's something holding it. Oh, hang on. I lied. There's another screw over here. I bet there's one on the other side. Yep, right here on this metal piece. Now, we should be able to give her a good yank. See, that whole thing's free. Now, I'm just going to climb across here. See if I can get this out with all this steering wheel stuff in place. I think that's a big old negative there, Ghost Rider. Push these down underneath there. Oh, hang on. I also forgot the OBD2 reader. Don't forget that. It's a good one. sure the steering wheel's all the way down, all the way out. I don't know who said you'd take this off the steering wheel on, but I think they didn't know what they was talking about. Someone told me you could. But I'm just not seeing it happening. Maybe if I pull on, like, pull that side out some more, maybe. And then twist this up and over. There we go. Just break that in half. And the dash should come out now. So, if you leave the steering wheel on, you'll break that. So here is the current state of the car. Had to pull out the crash bar. And then just a whole lot of like little stuff getting all these wires loose. So I went ahead, right here, you definitely don't want to cut this. This is the throttle pedal. That's what that goes to. So then all these wires behind here went around to the heater box. I just cut them there. And then I kept most of this heater harness. I ended up cutting one end of it that starts running under the floorboard over there. Just because I know I'm not going to need it, but I'm leaving a lot of extra on everything too. So we're getting, this is all loose. I just got to pull this out. And we should be in pretty good shape. So, again, keep all your brake and clutch switches depending on whether or not you're running cruise and what all you're doing with your swap. But just try and keep everything that has importance. Like, you could probably cut this harness right here past this bend and be fine. I just kept it there just because I got to sort through all this once it's out. So, I'll get this on out and we'll come back to you. Here we have the complete harness. So to some people all this looks kind of intimidating, but when you lay it all out and then strip it down, you can see what everything goes to. Well, I had it marked, but that should be those two plugs. That's a good question. Oh, those two plugs, they go to the horn. So again, there's like the majority of this you're not going to need, but it's better to pull it all out and keep, you know, everything. So when you sort through it, you're not like, oh, I shouldn't have cut that or whatever. So here's this whole harness, and then this other one. These are two separate ones. But basically, you know, you got all these ends. So got that in the ECU. So now I'm going to, when I get to this, sit down on a big table, stretch it all out, and then just kind of go through it with the wiring schematics. So, you know, some people get intimidated by all this. I mean, it's not, you know, when you look at it as a whole, it's like, oh my goodness. But then, like, when you break it down, it's not really that bad. So, anyway, so now all this is out. So I'm going to finish cleaning up and get the car out of here. Here is, get my shadow out of the way. Here's all the junk out of the car. This is all this here is just trash. So we'll get rid of all that. And if you're scrapping the car afterwards, just like pile all that stuff back in the car, take it off. Then you don't have to pay to haul it off. Another thing, a lot of people don't want to buy a whole car because like they don't have room to store it or for whatever reason. And I get that, like if you're in a neighborhood area, you might not have room to do all this. Well, here's something you probably didn't cross your mind. You could rent a storage unit big enough, you know, put the car in, open the doors and stuff, do all this you need, then it's not in the way, and you can pull all your stuff out, and, you know, you have a good storage unit. And then when you're done, get rid of the car, and there you go. So there's that. But yeah, and then here, you know, ECU, all this is your vacuum controls, mainly for the turbo. So keep all that complete. I got all the lines labeled where everything goes. So just kind of keep it organized and complete, and it shouldn't be too bad. So I have parts absolutely everywhere, but I finished stripping this down, pulled the doors, the seats. I even pulled the fuel out of the tank. It had a little over 10 gallon of fuel in there, so hey, 10 gallon I don't have to buy. But now I've pretty much got everything stripped down, so this car can get out of here. About this footage, I need to get this out of here tonight, so the only brake it's got's e-brake, and we have no steer. So I'm gonna try and push it back off the ramps, and then push it out the door. I don't know if I can push this out by myself or not, so let's find out. Maybe. Doesn't look like it's going to hit the door. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm hooked to the four-wheel. I just want to get this engine inside. Here's your cold start. Let's see if the tractor will pick this car up now. I'm gonna go ahead and take these tires off. There it is. She is now going to be off to the crusher. So there's what it looks like on that trailer I made. So it works out pretty good. So I guess this will wrap this one up. We got a little snow. I didn't even know it was supposed to snow. Got a little bit of snow, and I would love to end this video with some cool drone snow footage. Anyways, you guys have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.